Welcome everybody to yet another tier list video here today. We got a new one, fellas. So I've done what, like 7 of these so far? 7, 8, something like that. I think it's like 6 or 7. We're doing another one here today. Now obviously I hope everybody who clicked on this video can read, given the fact that I would expect you to read the title. We're going to be ranking the charisma of every male main character in every romance anime I've seen so far. Now, few things. First of all, this list is in semi-order. As in, it's in order probably from like this point on. Okay, like 45% of it, 45% is in order. The beginning of it is not in order of which I've seen them in, because I don't remember which, I've seen first. Also, second thing, not all of these people are the main character. Some of these people are not supporting characters, but they're a secondary main character. They're not the protagonist, right? Now, most of them are. However, some of these are actually more of like the objective, right? They're the interest, okay, while not being the actual person you follow all of the time. It depends on the show of how focused it is on each individual, or if it's more from like a set person's perspective, right? Like, for example, at the beginning here we have Tsutsui from 3D Kanojo. That show is more from his perspective versus a show like Harimia, which is more like kind of showing everyone. So anyways, third thing that I want to preface so I don't get like angry comments, not that I ever really have, but this is a list based specifically on their charisma, not how much I like the character and not how I feel about the character, okay? This also is not like, generally how successful they are in a given situation, especially socially. This is just how charismatic they are, okay, which generally encompasses their social skills, their ability to convince people of stuff, if at all, and generally just not running into a brick wall every time they try to talk to somebody, okay? Now, some of these people progressively get better, and some of them generally stay the same. So there's that. Alright, so without further ado, now that I've sort of prefaced a few things, let's jump into what the rankings are. We have a certain order we do with these. So I'll explain each of the tiers here. At the bottom, we got the SpongeBob tier. Okay, this is for individuals with a charisma stat of 0 or 1 and are they're trash. They are terrible at talking to people, but more specifically, not just their social skills, but how effective they are in communicating, right? So charisma is not like, oh, I have a few friends. Charisma is I can talk to somebody and suddenly they're my friend, or suddenly I got something out of them, right? So this tier shows like the complete and total opposite of that, where every time they open their mouth, it's not pretty at all. Which, by the way, this list is heavily influenced by how the viewer sees them. That's another part of it, right? So, like, for example, some of these characters are, like, beloved by the people that are in the show, but then the viewer may get mad at them, right? I have a few of those in mind on this list. Okay, so anyways, we have SpongeBob tier at the bottom. Here we have a tactical droid. This pretty much represents a tactical droid has more charisma than them. Okay, so a battle droid in Star Wars could probably be a smoother talker than any of these clowns. Okay, then we got the middle ground here. We got Richard LaRowena. This is the wild card. Okay, and what I mean by this is I put Richard here from well, he's not from Super Seducer, but that's where I know him from. Because in Super Seducer, you can either be an expert and the most charismatic man in the room, or you could be a nightmarish serial killer with 0 social skills that would put any freak in the middle of Los Angeles to shame, okay? So, I mean, this is like, you can be half and half. So, like, sometimes they're great, and other times it's, you know, wait, it's not what it looks like, right? It's that crap. All right, next here we have Riddick, if anybody even remembers who this is anymore. He's a man of few words, but trust me, the guy, he has a way with him. All right, this is for characters that are, like, mildly charismatic, right? Like, they're not lacking in ability, they're just not, like, super flashy, super, you know, like everybody's, they're no magnet, you know? Then we've got Tony Stark here. It speaks for itself, right? This is a man that can get his way with words any way, anyhow. These are for some of the best characters in terms of talking, but they may be dragged down by a few factors, right? Like, not everybody may be affected by their abilities. However, this tier is mostly for individuals that, like, the viewer may really like, while characters in the show may be kind of half and half on them. Then up here, we have charisma itself, right? It's the Fallout Boy, right? It is charisma. It is charisma level 10, 100% maxed out. Okay, this is like, you could convince anyone to do anything because you're that smooth of a talker. This is convincing the Master to self-destruct in Fallout 1. This is convincing, what's-his-face from New Vegas to stand down with his armies. It's that, okay? I mean, this is like, you can do anything. So anyways, let's get into it. I've dragged this out for long enough. Let's start off with 3D Kanajo here, Sutsui. He's gonna have to go in Tactical Droid. I've thought about him because he's the first in line, so like I've already thought about where I'm putting him. He's alright. Like, he's okay when it comes to his friends, more specifically with his significant other. Oh, by the way, I remember that thing that I didn't think of earlier, which was that a lot of these shows I watched a while ago, like a few months ago, so I may not remember everybody's names or what they've done, so excuse me for that. Also, another thing, I tend to remember the shows that I value a lot more, while others I kind of just, it sort of ceases from my memory. So, yeah. So anyways, 3D Kanajo, I don't remember his partner's name. I'm drawing a blank on her name. He's fine with her, but he goes whole episodes not knowing what's going on. He's very dense. He's terrible socially, right? I mean, that's a part of his character, right? He's the typical otaku. His friend wears cat ears, right? Like, the man, he sucks at talking to people, including people he knows, okay? So, he struggles. He struggles hard, but, I mean, he's got a little bit of sway to him. And, like, given the conditions that he's put in the show, he works with what he's got, right? So he's not total trash. And also, the viewer, most of the time, knows that things aren't his fault. He kind of just gets screwed over. So, like, he earns some points back because in-universe, he's a total wimp. Out of universe, the viewer knows that he's trying, right? He's not nearly as insufferable as some of these other people. He does suffer a lot of the same tropes, though. Therefore, he's in this spot. Alright, moving on to... Oh my god. If there's one person I've hated on in this channel more than anything ever, it's Nishikata from Teasing Master Takugi. This man has got zero charisma. If there was one thing I was screaming while watching Teasing Master Takugi, well, there were two things. Number one was reality bending, right, because of Takugi. The second was, this man has charisma level 0. This is what happens when you don't put charisma points into your character at the beginning of Fallout. This is what you get. Like, a literal orc could explain to normal people what's going on better than this man, okay? I'd rather have a conversation with the Uruk-hai in Lord of the Rings than this man, okay? I don't even know what to say about him. I think SpongeBob has better charisma than he does. Like, where do I even start? I mean, first things first, he can never spit out what he wants to say, right? Stop stuttering, stop stammering, which is kind of ironic because I'm stuttering while recording this, but I don't use scripts, so that's a part of it. This man, he never knows what to say. He can't explain himself. He's the worst liar in fiction, probably. I think Pinocchio can lie better than Nishikata can. I genuinely think so. Hey, heck, Pinocchio can get plastic surgery. Nishikata can't alter his brain chemistry. So, this man has got zero skill, and I don't want to hear, oh, he's just in middle school. Skip that. I've been in middle school. These people, nobody's got the level of absolute terrible social skill this man has. And it's not even his social skill so much as it is how bad he is at speaking, right? Like, he has friends. He has people he talks to. He talks to Takugi on a daily basis for years. It's not that. It's, once again, it's charisma. You separate charisma from just raw social skill. This man's trash. He's going easily bottom tier. He's probably the lowest of anyone on this list. All right, moving on to I'm already drawing a blank on his name. I don't know. The main character from Domestic Girlfriend. This man is going in one of these two bottom tiers. Jeez. Okay, considering the fact that he can even navigate the situation he's in, I'm going to put him in like, worse than a tactical droid, okay? Because, the spot he's in is it's weird. I almost said it's kind of weird. It's very weird, okay? And, given who he's interacting with, I would say he's at least got enough charisma to survive, but he has minimal ability. This man's frustrating to watch. His common sense is heavily lacking. That doesn't have to do with his charisma, but it does make me kind of biased. Which, by the way, this list is very biased, because of course it is. There's not much to be said about this man. Considering I can't even remember his first name, that pretty much tells you all you need to know. Okay, next up is Nagi from A Couple of Cuckoos. He's going in one of these two tiers here. Man. I don't know. He's not, like, super special. I did not mean to do that. Okay. I don't know. I'll put him here. I don't know. Maybe I'll put him as, like, the top of this section. He's just not really that special to me. Like, I remember his name, so that's enough. He's just kind of there. He's not that interesting as a main character. Like, I don't know. His dilemma, because, A Couple of Cuckoos is a harem. His dilemma is interesting, but that's more of the show itself than him as an individual. I don't know. He's got some skill, right? Like, he's not totally lacking. He's not stupid. He's not frustrating to watch. Actually, I think I did put A Couple of Cuckoos on madness-inducing. Was it this that I did? Or was it average? I think I put it, maybe it was an average. I don't know. He's fine. He doesn't really do much for me, but yeah, he's alright. Okay, next up, we got Matcha something. I'm drawing a blank. I know his sister. I don't know him, because he's also not the main character, by the way, of Alia. He's technically a main character, but he's not the main character. I'll put him here, because I don't remember his name, but I definitely remember what he does. The whole thing with, what was it, like the baseball team or soccer team or whatever it was. They don't call it soccer because it's Japan, but, his whole thing with them and resolving that was pretty cool. He, of course, took the microphone for the whole student council thing near the end of Season 1, or was it at the end of Season 1? I don't remember. He managed to patch that up, right, and he helped out Alia a lot. His interactions with his sister are probably the best parts of the show. Not probably, they are the best parts of the show. And also, Aaron Dismuke, easy plus. If he's your voice actor, you automatically get plus 20 charisma points. Okay, I just stuttered really badly. There's not much to be said about him. He is great. Yuki's better, though. His sister definitely reflects heavily on him, and therefore, like, some of it some of it melds onto him. Okay, anyways, on to Renaro from 100 Girlfriends. Easy top tier. He's probably the best character on this entire list in terms of charisma, and he's probably like top 3 in terms of my favorite characters in this list. This man, I don't even know where to begin. Anybody who's ever seen 100 Kanajo knows that you come to it for like, you're like, oh, it's the biggest harem in the world. Let me check this out, and then you stay because of Renaro, right? Skip all the other characters. He's the main attraction, okay? It's like going to Jurassic Park for the dinosaurs, and then you stay for the food. You know, it's like that. Okay, so this man, I don't even know where to begin. He can sustain tens of people at the same time, match everybody's needs, talk to everybody perfectly, okay? I mean, by the way, this man's going up on the next tier list video I do, which is going to be related to, like, stability in anime relationships, okay? Spoiler alert, he's going to be at the top of the list. I don't know who's going to be at the bottom. I do know who's going to be at the top, and it's going to be him, okay? I don't even know what to say about this man. He graces the planet with his presence. Let's see, his interactions with, besides everyone, the maid girlfriend. I can't think of her name right now. I'm drawing it's been a little while since I've seen season 2. His whole interaction with her pretty much capitalizes and represents the perfect semblance of what makes him charismatic. I mean, he can crack the shell of anybody and bring out the best in absolutely everyone. So, easily just perfection. Okay? They don't even have to be one of the soulmates. He could just interact with anybody. So yeah, he's easily going at the top. Now that I'm done singing his praises, we're moving on to Furo Uesugi from Quintessential Quintuplets. Let's see. Yeah, well, okay, he's staying in the top of this tier, but I don't know if he quite goes to the top entirely. He's got some problems. His arrogance, especially at the beginning of the show, bothers the characters in the show. Now, anybody who views Uesugi, or Furo, whichever name you want to prefer, last name. Anybody who views him, most people do enjoy him as a character. I especially enjoy him as a character. He's a nice mix-up from the usual limped loser that you see in most of these shows, right? He definitely spices things up. He's highly intelligent, and he's definitely able to get his words across and his points across effectively. He also is not a welcome mat. He's not a doormat, okay? Just so everybody knows. That automatically adds like 20 points to his character, okay? Easily, because he knows what he wants, and he's not going to beat around the bush. Actually, he's the king of beating around the bush, which is partially why he's here. Kind of my point is, he's able to make it seem like he's very direct, when in reality, he doesn't quite know what he's doing, or what he's talking about sometimes. But he can make it seem like he does. And that's a part of charisma, right? Is being able to sound like you know what you're talking about, even if you don't. And so that's pretty much the key to Furo. Okay, he can be confused, he can be split between people and ideas, he can have dilemmas, but he's always going to be on the right track, especially when interacting with people. And the way that he gets every single one of the quintuplets to find him absolutely marvelous, that adds to it, right? I mean, it shows his skill. Alright, moving on to Miyamura in Horimiya. He's going in one of these two tiers. Let me think. I'll put him here because I was thinking the wild card tier because, like, normally he's kind of just fine. He just kind of does whatever. However, there are those scenes where he's like, because Hori likes being yelled at. We all know why if we've seen the show, right? So then, but he doesn't like doing that because he's a nice person. He's kind, and normally he's soft-spoken. However, in the show, for the viewer, There's nothing more embarrassing than having, like, these two that are totally fine, and then every outsider looking in at the dynamic sees him, like, yelling and getting super physical, and then it's like, it's very awkward for anybody watching, right? And so that's why I was thinking about the wild card tier, but that's not really him, though. I mean, he's being asked to do that, so, like, that doesn't really count. So I think he goes here. He's fine. He doesn't really do anything particularly, like, fantastic. That's mostly because Harimi is a very laid-back show. Like I said, this list is more based on character traits, not so much the show itself, right? So yeah, he's pretty laid-back, so he goes there. Okay, next up we got good old Miyuki Shirogane from Kaguya-sama Love is War. He's going in this tier. Let me put him above. Yeah, there you go. I'm not putting him at the top because even though he is one of my favorite characters in this list, he is also not the most charismatic. Now, when he interacts with Kaguya, it's perfection, right? However, and also a lot of other people generally like interacting with him, and obviously his intelligence makes him far more interesting and far more tolerable to watch as a character than somebody who's like dumb as a brick, right? So that definitely adds to it. I don't know. He's kind of just, I don't want to say, he's not average. He's more of, it's hard to explain his dynamic with all the characters in Kaguya-sama, right? It's something you've got to more watch. And his, the way he interacts with his sister is especially interesting, and I think that definitely adds to things. He's a weird character, right? Everybody in Kaguya-sama is weird. So, like, they're interesting, but they're not, like, hugely dynamic. Maybe I should put him in this tier. I don't know. Let me think. But I mean, like, if you see the end of the Kaguya-sama Love is War movie, that's, like, just fantastic. But then also, he is great at convincing people of stuff. I don't know. He's got persuasive abilities. You know what? I'm gonna keep him here because I just remembered his the little thing he did helping out Miko in season 2 when she was doing that whole thing. I think she was running for student president or student council president, and he helped her, and he basically patched up the entire speech, right? He fixed it right up. So I'm keeping him there. All right, next up we got NASA from Tonikawa Over the Moon for You. He's going up here. I don't need to say that much. He, like, every time he interacts with a person, they automatically are, like, stunned by how kind and intelligent he is. It's just, like, the world shatters. So you could be overtly hostile to him, and he's just like, oh, yeah, that's nice to meet you, you know? It's like Chitose in the first few episodes when she's trying to mess with him, and then he's just like, oh, yeah, nice to meet you, and then he like he meets her, goes through all this stuff, and then God, why can't I think of? I'm drawing a blank on his wife's name. I don't know why. She's literally the second main character of the show. I can't think of her name. It's bothering me. Anyways, and she's hostile towards Chitose because, you know, they get it, but NASA, he's kind of dense, but he's a fun guy, and he's great to watch for the audience, right? So, easily high charisma points. Most intelligence plays a lot of role in these characters. You may notice the less intelligent characters are toward the bottom, while the more intelligent characters tend to linger higher to the top, right? Alright, next up, we've got Ichikawa. I believe I said his name correctly. He's going down here. He's not lower than Nishikata though, but like it's close. It's pretty close. He is trash at interacting with people. Now, as a character, he's amazing. But have you heard his internal monologues at the beginning of the show? This man, like, he wants to be Darth Sidious so badly, but he ain't. He ain't anywhere close. It's, yeah. His initial interactions with Yamada are pretty one-sided, to say the least. And the way, like, everything he does is just, it doesn't It doesn't further any sort of, like, genuine goal. He doesn't know what's going on half the time. He's awkward. He's just kind of there. Yeah, I mean, even by the end of the show, one thing's for sure, he is definitely not more skillful, masterful in interacting with people. He kind of just he just gets closer to Yamada. That's really the only, like, major change. That, and he also sort of calms down. But, like, that doesn't have to do with charisma. Okay, next up, we have Ryuji from Toradora. He's going in... Let's see. He's going in this tier because most people, especially at the beginning of the show, are terrified of him because he looks like a delinquent. Now, in reality, pretty much after the first few episodes, that whole thing is, like, almost entirely dropped, right? Like, nobody judges his appearance really after that. However, this man, he could be kind of limped at times, right? Especially because Taiga is so dramatic. I won't say overbearing. Kind of overbearing. More judgy, right? Very full force and fiery. Yeah, that we'll go with that. Dramatic is the best way to put it. That he doesn't really get a chance to be, like, super domineering. However, he definitely has enough charisma to tango with the tiger, right? And so, yeah, I mean, he does what he needs to do. He accomplishes what he needs to. He's able to talk to everybody just fine, and he isn't, like, enemy of the state. So he accomplishes his goals, although he's not, like, super, you know, it's not really a big deal. Alright, next up, we've got Hikigaya Hachiman from Origairu. Oh my god, okay. Look, I'll put him in wild card because as much as I want to slam him at the bottom of this tier list and then, like, spit in his face, this is supposed to be, like, not totally biased, so I'll put him in wild card, and here's why. The characters in the show, a lot of them, well, they sort of hate him and love him at the same time. It's weird. I don't get it. He's got friends somehow. He interacts with people. He's good at setting things up, and he's good at talking his way out of things and into things, mostly into things. Yeah, that's pretty much where the positives end. From there, this is one of the characters, probably the major character on this list, where he's the most frustrating for the audience, more than he is frustrating to other people in the show, right? So, like, Nishikata, most of his lack of charisma comes from, like, inexperience and bothering the viewer, okay? However, he's not a bad person, and he doesn't, like, it makes sense why he has friends, you know? Like, his social skills are fine. It's just his charisma is trash, which, like I said, separate. This man, Hachiman, I don't know what's wrong with him. I mean, he has a million things wrong with him. I don't know how he has anybody who's willing to communicate with him. And then, Jesus, his dynamics with people are about as, like, just explosive as possible. I don't know. I think I'd rather speak with Walter White. You know what? I'm putting him in Tactical Droid. He doesn't get wild card. I was gonna say, if this man, if I'd rather talk to Walter White than this man, there's no way. He's going here. Okay, next up we have Arata and Taichi from Chihayafuru. They're kind of cut off in the image, but it's fine. I'll put them in wild card. They're fine most of the time. However, they also have their moments where they just totally flop in the other direction. Mostly Taichi. I put them together because these are, like, based on, you know, each individual show. Normally there's only one of these characters that's a main character that's male. However, in Chihayafuru, they're not the main character, but they are two of the three main characters. So I put them together, right? Sometimes they're great, and other times they just cannot talk any sense in anyone, right? So, like, Taichi, this man, he's got to get better at communicating because his communication skills are trash. It's hard to describe him unless you see season 3. He's just like, he's very big on the silent treatment. Not so much out of like malice, so much as he just doesn't know what to say. But that doesn't make it better, right? Not knowing what to say is, a part of charisma is knowing what to say, how to say it, when to say it, that kind of thing. Not knowing what to say at all definitely subtracts from that, and so I'm putting them in wild card because it really depends. All right, next up is Rito from To Love Ru. Okay. Wild card or this? Nope, they're going down here. I don't know. Rito, I actually like Rito a lot as a character. However, his charisma, he probably has the single... You know what? He's going below Nishikata. Or actually... No, I mean, he deals with aliens and, whatever other magical, mystical crap spawns in out of interdimensional portals. So, he's got some skill. Also, I'm a little bit biased in the sense that I haven't seen Season 2, or all of Season 2, I've seen some of it, or Season 3, and I know there's other stuff too, but To Love Ru is way too long, and frankly, it's boring. I'm sorry. I like the show, kind of, but it bores me, so I kind of dropped it on Season 2. Maybe he gets a lot better. But from what I've seen of him, he's not super big in the charisma department. He's also pretty much the but major reason that I hate the trope of, wait, I can explain, right? Because he does it every episode 10 times. And it's like, spit it out, brother. Say what you want to say. And say it in a manner that helps you. Don't say it in a manner that makes it sound worse, right? So he's going at the bottom. All right, next up is Takeo Goda. Sorry, said his name slightly wrong, but I got right the second time. He's going in wild card. Here's why. Takeo is an amazing guy. He's probably one of my favorite characters in this list. He's top 5 probably. However, his charisma is lacking, right? Well, okay, he's either the most charismatic character on this list, or he's the least charismatic character on this list. And it all depends on whatever moment you pick out for him. So sometimes he's in your face, awkwardly staring at you. He doesn't say anything, and he's almost like a dog, right? And then other times he just says the right thing, and everybody faints in unison, right? So it depends. It really depends. He's more of a man of action rather than words, which, if we're going based on the images that I have here, then I would put him in the Riddick tier here, but I'm not going to because that's not what this is based off of. He's more of a wild card. He's a great character, though, so, he can get away with it. All right, next up, we've got Lord Kudo over here from My Happy Marriage. Kyoka Kudo. He's going in this tier? Well, I don't know. He's also more of a man of action rather than words. I'll put him here, I think. Yeah, I'll put him ahead of the others. Yeah, but he's got enough charisma for, everything to be fine. So that's not his problem. Actually, he doesn't really have any major problems, but he is more of a man of action rather than words. There's not a lot to be said about him, right? He kind of just, he says what he needs to say. Bonus points because the way he interacts with Mio is obviously better than any other character in the show manages to interact with her. So there's some bonus points. Also, the audience collectively loves him as a character, so there's that. All right, last option here, we got Shoda from Me to You is the show's name, From Me to You. I just started watching this show. By started watching this show, I mean last week, and I'm on season 2 currently. As of the day this is coming out, this statement is false now because I am finished with season 2. This man goes in wild card, bottom of wild card. Here's why. He can either be the best character to speak, or he can totally flop. Okay, this mostly comes from his short temper and his knack to just not say exactly what he's thinking, right? So he's kind of like a worse version of how Miyuki up here interacts with people, right? Most specifically, Kaguya. And so when Shoda interacts, it does not work. He does not use his words. He's a man of action, but not in a good way, right? He doesn't do the thing that needs to be done, and he runs into a lot of misunderstandings, right? And so he can't pull it off. Now, I know he succeeds in the end, right? But that's not really what this is about, right? Every character on this list succeeds in the end, right? That's not what it's about. Well, actually, I don't know about Arata and Taichi here. So, minus those two, everybody else, they succeed. So that's not really what this is focused on. But he's just, I don't know. He doesn't have the skill to properly say what he needs to say most of the time. At some points he does, right? Like when he's talking with Kurumi, he does. When he's talking, on New Year's with Sawako, I mean, he says the right things. It's just sometimes he totally flops. And most of the time he just doesn't use his freaking words. And if he did, everything would be so much better. Now, this isn't solely his fault. A lot of the time, it's also because the people he's interacting with, most specifically Sawako, are also not great at talking to people. And so that kind of impacts how they interact with each other and, how it comes across to the viewer. Although, it can be frustrating. Alright, so take a nice long look. This one was a bit longer because we had a lot more characters and a lot more stuff to get through. However, this is it. I also stuttered a lot, so I'm going to have to cut all that out, or most of it at least. So yeah, here we go, fellas. We got 3 at the bottom with Nishikata, Rito, and Ichikawa. Then we got 3 over here, 3 here, 4 here, 3, and then 2 at the top. So yeah, there you have it, my friends. That is going to be all for this time. Tell me what you think down in the comments, because I will happily read every single one of them. Not that there will be that many, but, it's a thought that counts. If you enjoyed, please leave a like, a comment, and I will see you all in the next video. Have a fantastic day and a fantastic life. Goodbye, everyone. They think that using the zombies as a weapon is a good idea. I just missed every single shot and hit an enemy that was 1 inch in front of me. Why is the FNAF 2 hallway theme playing? Wait. Oh, God! Jesus! Oh! You can't reload, fast enough, huh? Oh, yeah, she's done. We got emplacements. Oh, she beat Isarola to death! Gonna be getting paid a lot for this one. Okay, well, looks like they've arrived a little earlier than expected. Get this thing started. Let's get out of here.